One of the most common patterns that I see in my coaching clients is hesitation. It's not laziness, it's not a lack of talent, and it's certainly never a lack of desire. Hesitation. You might know exactly what you want to do, say, or pursue, but the problem is that fear keeps interrupting. Now, whether it's speaking in front of a crowd or starting a business, pursuing a creative dream, or just having an honest conversation that you need to with somebody, fear has a remarkable ability to redirect you straight into the land of what I call, well, maybe someday. And unfortunately, someday keeps getting postponed. So instead of acting, you prepare endlessly. You overthink, you research, you make plans. You ask for advice from 14 different people. And what happens? Months pass, sometimes years. And eventually, you become incredibly skilled at avoiding discomfort while convincing yourself that you're still working on it. Well, meanwhile, children are out there living life like little tiny stunt performers. You know what I mean? A child can fall off a bike, cry with Oscar-worthy emotion for 42 seconds, accept a cookie as part of their personal recovery process, and then jump right on the bike like nothing happened. Children are naturally curious, resilient, and willing to engage with life before they feel completely ready to. Adults are different, however, because we want guarantees. Kids think, why not try? Adults think, but what if this becomes embarrassing? What if I fail? And I remember it at 3 in the morning for the next 10 years. Children will run into life. Adults often stand on the edge of it, conducting detailed risk assessments. So at some point, you might have learned that avoiding discomfort actually became more important than experiencing life fully. So what do? You start protecting yourself from rejection, criticism, failure, and uncertainty. Eventually, you become so careful that you actually stop living boldly at all. So fear at that moment sounds surprisingly reasonable. In fact, fear rarely announces itself real dramatically. It sounds really practical and it makes sense. So you say, well, I'm going to wait until I'm a little more confident. I'm going to wait until I'm prepared more. Maybe next year I'll volunteer to speak at my job. But then you start saying, what if I fail? And what if people judge me? See, fear can sound incredibly logical while quietly convincing you to stay small. So a fear-based person spends much of their life waiting. We wait for confidence. We wait for certainty. We wait for the right moment. And most importantly of all, we wait for anxiety to completely disappear first before we go for it. And that, unfortunately, is a very long waiting list. The truth is, courage usually does not arrive with fireworks and inspirational background music. Most of the time, courage simply sneaks up and whispers, take the next step anyway. So here are 3 steps to begin taking your life back from fearful thinking. Number 1, tiny steps count more than giant intentions. If you want to change your life, begin with something that genuinely matters to you. Ask yourself, what would I pursue if fear stopped acting like my personal advisor? Then start small. Not, I'm going to volunteer to give a significant presentation for my company even though I'm terrified. No, just take one honest, manageable step. For example, if you're afraid of giving a presentation at work, do the following. First, commit to overcoming your performance anxiety. Find a performance coach. Practice every technique and skill to take charge of your anxiety, and then apply your skills little by little in different meetings at work. When you begin to develop confidence, maybe offer to make a presentation, then to continue to practice your skills. Finally, put yourself out there more and more. You see, small, courageous practice and actions create momentum, and momentum will change you. Confidence is rarely something that just magically appears while we sit inside our comfort zone. Confidence is built through action. And every time you move forward, despite discomfort, you teach yourself that I can do this. Fear is survivable. And then you celebrate your practice and your progress along the way. Sometimes simply not talking yourself out of something deserves recognition. So go for it then. Number 2, stop rehearsing catastrophes, because most anxiety lives in the future. People spend enormous amounts of mental energy rehearsing conversations that haven't happened or imagining disasters that have never occurred. Meanwhile, while you're doing that, life is happening now. It's been said that we should practice staying where our feet are, Learn to stay present in the moment. Fear also exaggerates. Your inner critic may sound convincing, but it's often very dramatic, it's inaccurate, and always operates without much evidence. Learn to question the fearful stories you tell yourself about failure, rejection, and not being enough. And then pay attention to who you surround yourself with, because some people will encourage you. They'll encourage your growth, your courage, your creativity. Others will hand out discouragement and fear like free samples at Costco. Choose who surrounds you carefully. And number 3, learn to tolerate a little discomfort. Growth always requires some discomfort. Now, I'm not talking about unbearable suffering, but just enough discomfort to stretch you beyond your familiar patterns. Every person I've coached, every successful, creative, resilient person that I know and that you admire has experienced setbacks, rejection, embarrassment, mistakes, and failure. The difference is they didn't decide to let those moments define them. They kept going. You see, failure can be feedback to you and not part of your identity. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is part of being human. The real problem becomes when fear becomes the primary decision maker in your life. So when you stop hiding behind perfectionism and endless preparation and avoidance, you begin living more honestly and courageously, what I call living from the inside out. So choose something today. Choose something today that matters to you, something that fear has kept you from pursuing. Not next year, not when you finally feel completely fearless, not after you reorganize your garage or answer every email or achieve complete emotional enlightenment. Don't wait for it, because it's not going to come on its own, no matter how much you want it. So I encourage you today to take that first step in becoming fearless.